Crimson Global Academy, known as CGA, is Asia's leading online international school for ages 8 to 18, offering internationally recognized curricula such as IGCSEs, A-levels, and AP courses that can be taken part-time or full-time. It's globally accredited and with teachers that have an average of 15 or more years of experience teaching. CGA was built for flexibility, academic acceleration, and personalized learning. So without further ado, I'm going to pull up their first video here. And
welcome to Crimson Global Academy, a world-leading global online private school for aspiring students. From North America to Asia, to Australia and New Zealand, to Europe, Africa and Middle East, students join classes from around the world to be inspired and engaged as they achieve an accredited, internationally recognised education. What makes our school environment so special is the collaboration between our dedicated families and our school faculty. Together, we unlock each student's extraordinary future. From day one, we designed our school to be online. Our ability-based approach works to ignite a passion for learning, where students' academic performance is not limited by age. Students can complete their primary, middle and high school years online at CGA, at the pace and with the mode of learning that suits them best. Our students have triumphed against global benchmarks and have received some of the highest marks in the world. Our students' internationally recognised curricula opens doors to top universities, both internationally and locally. Dreaming of admission to Cambridge, Oxford, Princeton, Stanford, Columbia. These are some of the universities CGA alumni have been admitted into. We encourage students to dream big to unlock their limitless potential. We're seeing a rise in enrolments among student athletes who are seeking flexibility, and likewise performers whose schooling needs to fit around their commitments outside of the classroom. World-travelling families at CGA get to experience the world around them as they gain an accredited education. Rurally based students that prefer the lifestyle of learning from home and those seeking a more inclusive and supportive learning environment too are thriving at CGA. We partner with our families and provide them with the tools at their fingertips to track their child's academic progress, while also staying connected with their holistic development across our global community of campuses. Students join a diverse community of learners from around the world, enriching cultural understanding and global perspectives. Underpinning all of this is our world-class faculty. Our teachers bring 20 years plus experience to the classroom and teach in small classrooms averaging 10 to 12 per class, or through one-on-one settings. Our teachers bring with them a legacy of first-class student results, and we have recruited them from a global network of educators who are among the best in the world. Are you ready to start your journey at the world's leading online school? Join other CGA families with world-class schooling online and unlock an extraordinary future.
So excited that I get to bring Mr. Ronan Kearney onto the stage here. How are you today, Mr. Ronan?
Hi, Stephen. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Tell me, I love the idea, the concept, the delivery of CGA. But what I want to start with is the question I start with all of our presenters here is like, if I'm a parent and I come to you and we're having a coffee, we're doing whatever, what's your go-to statement when you say, this is the reason why you choose CGA?
For us, our sort of key statement that comes up no matter where your first conversation tends to be is that we are ability, not age-based. So the purpose and the reason that CGA was actually started was as a school for students to be able to take courses at the right level for them, not just because of a given age. Sometimes for students, that means going up a year. So about 40% of our students accelerate in at least one subject, but it also might mean that they're at their normal level for most subjects, but need a little bit of support. It might be working just a year behind in one specific subject. But what we want to do is make sure they're in the right year group for each individual course, not just for all courses, so that they're at the right level and being challenged appropriately in each subject that they're taking within the school.
All right, nice. I like that. I was watching on the video there that, it's also there's tell me about like the size of your community that are, again, athletes who are looking for a flexible schedule, or performers of some kind. I saw dancing, I saw music there. I saw, people who are more rural based there. So is this a hodgepodge of individuals who have unique lifestyles like that, or are those the outliers?
Yeah, so for us, it very much is a hodgepodge, a mix of
I
reasons
mean
why
that in the
people come
best way
to
too. I
CGA.
set
Yeah,
those
no,
rules,
no,
and I did not
absolutely.
mean that in a bad way.
No, so for us, our what we sort of say is we've sort of key personas that we tend to see the most at CGA. Of course, we have academically driven students who want that little bit of challenge that maybe their local curriculum doesn't give them, or they're being held back because of their age. So, for instance, two of the students that I taught last year were only 14, but were getting A stars in their A levels and getting full marks in every paper that they sat. So they had that freedom to take the subject at the right level for them with us. But then alongside that, rural families, traveling families is a really big one. We are starting to see more sport and music as key reasons for joining. And another one is what we call IENA, or individual educational needs grouping, which is students that the inclusion focus can be a little bit better online. And that can be very low level things. Particularly after COVID, we've seen a lot of students who have that little bit more anxiety about going back into physical classrooms and dealing with the noise and breaks in routine between lessons. And actually, they very much enjoyed the structure of online. They don't need any other support other than that, but they like the online structure better. So our inclusion group, which includes SEND, but also students who happen just to prefer online, is definitely a rising area as well of students and why they choose online learning.
Nice. We have a question that just came in from Facebook. If my child is in extended learning, does CGA offer additional opportunities, or is this mainly for regular school programs?
Yeah, so it's one of the sort of benefits of being online, I guess. For us, we offer both full-time and part-time. So students can come to us as their full-time, complete secondary education or primary education solution, or it can be part-time where they just want that little bit of extension from their main school program, and that might be in one subject or across 2 or 3 subjects. We also have students who actually take one of our full-time classes. So rather than having to do a part-time stream after school finishes, the parents have spoken with their physical school, and the school knows that they're ahead in maths, so they can take maths with us while their normal maths class would be happening for other students. So it's actually built into their school day as well, so it's not additional time for them in the evening. So there's quite a lot of different ways of working depending on the individual circumstance, but definitely full-time and part-time are both doable at CGA.
Okay, nice. Another question from Facebook is, are the classes all in person online, or do you watch recorded classes?
So for the A-level pathway, which is the 2 schools that I'm the deputy principal of, all of our lessons are live lessons. So they're all synchronous. We do have recordings, but those are for when students are sick or have a reasonable reason why they can't make a specific lesson. So it's easier for them to get caught up. Alongside those recordings, students always have key takeaways from every lesson so that they can search the recordings when they're looking to revise for specific topics, and helps them focus in on their revision. In our US pathway school, there is an arrangement of flexi learning, which is a few specific modules or subjects in the diploma program or AP program could be done remotely by watching the lessons, but you will have a coordinator for that who checks in with you regularly and also monitors that you have actually been watching the recordings when you say you did. So it's not a hands-off approach, even with flexible asynchronous learning in the US, but for in the A-level pathway, everything is synchronous live lessons.
Super cool. What about socialization? So we're talking about some kids who were in COVID who prefer the structure of online education, those kinds of things. One of the things that we know that children, especially younger children, get a lot of socialization through school. And so, what's the concept around that at CGA?
Yeah, absolutely. So within our school structure, it is like what you would experience in a physical school. They have form tutors, they have heads of houses, they are in school houses that have competitions against the other houses, and they have clubs both online and some in person, such as Cooking Club, where they come together and explore these clubs. Our pastoral program, we have renamed the CGA Life program. And really what we're looking there and what we're doing within that program, both in Form Time and Learning for Life, is to develop them socially, but also giving them the opportunities and expectations that we have of what they're doing online with us. So all students must be involved in a club, be that an academic club or an interest club at school. They also need to get involved at something in their local community. So they're socializing offline as well as online. And they also have to take part in some physical challenges as part of being at the school. And we are excited from next year that we're actually bringing PE back into our curriculum as an online school, but to really encourage that physical interaction that students have too. So one of the challenges, the house challenges that they're doing at the minute is we have 2 campuses, which are theoretically based in New Zealand and in the UK. So the students have a challenge of, as a campus collectively, to walk the distance from one to the other. So I think it's almost at 9,000 kilometers that we're attempting together,
Wow.
students, staff, and parents. So it's really trying to get them to be motivated to engage with different activities that they'd be interested in, competitions as well. In our UK campus, we've had Hull Day, Snap competitions, CGA's Got Talent, Jeopardy style house quizzes. So all the usual things that would connect the students and bring them together and allow them to socialize in an enjoyable way outside of the academic lessons too. Alongside
Nice.
that, of course, in-person meetups are a really big thing for us. So we aim to provide in-person meetups both locally to families. So actually this week we have in-person meetups running in Hong Kong, Singapore, and Taiwan. Next week, I am actually in Shenzhen running an in-person meetup there for our students. And we also had last week our school camp, which was just outside Melbourne, which is where I'm based. And we had students from Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and Singapore fly in for a week-long camp so they could hang out together and do activities in person.
And is that a part of the tuition or anything like that, or is that an extra expense, or how does that work?
Yeah, so for some of our activities, the ones that are more local to families, that's included in tuition. So we cover those expenses so that families can come together locally. For bigger international trips, so if it's school camp, or for instance, we ran a school trip to Vietnam just over a year and a bit ago, those would be additional expenses like they'd be for physical school.
Okay, nice. How do you support students with university or college admissions?
So we have a university counselling team overseen by myself as the deputy principal. We have university counsellors who are specialists in the US application pathway because it is the most involved for students in terms of what they need to coordinate for their applications. We also have a UCAS coordinator who works with students applying to the UK program, as well as an Australia-New Zealand specific coordinator. And then myself and the university counsellors also see the rest of world applications across Europe and Asia. Myself and our UCAS coordinator also specialize in the Oxford interview preparation program for students as well. So they start their uni application prep early, so looking at IG, and then an AS indicating where they're planning to apply at the beginning of the year, so we can work through with them and make sure they have everything they need. So again, a very thorough university support program, as you'd expect.
Nice, excellent. Another question from Facebook is, if my child has to move country from American curriculum to British, do you offer summer classes for kids to catch up or help with the new curriculum?
So we offer 2 approaches to our curriculum, which is either live group lessons, which follow the normal academic calendar for the UK and one for Australia and New Zealand, or we also offer a one-to-one program, which can be scheduled as and when suits the family. So if we're looking at potential catch-up or wanting to get ahead with parts of the curriculum over the summer, that would be the one-to-one program, because you can indicate your availability, your child's availability, and what sort of lessons that you're looking for in that time.
Wonderful. Where do you, I mean, there's no delicate way to ask this question. How do you compete with AI?
Yeah, so I think whenever we look at the learning for students, learning just with an AI tutor doesn't necessarily really turn into learning for students. A lot of the time that is give me the answer, but don't help me figure out how. So we're very much, whenever we look at how we use AI in lessons, it's about how it supports student learning, but it's always teacher-led, teacher included. So it is there, and it's not going away, but our first element is, how do we teach students to understand how to use this well, but also the risks of using it. So we've started from our pastoral side, where we've built, and our digital pedagogy lead has built AI training modules for students and probably for some staff, to really understand how to use AI, how to interact with it, what are the shortcomings of it, what are the advantages, and then from there building it into lessons, how it can support student revision, one-to-one interventions for staff to use with students. We don't see it as a concern of students are going to move to just wanting to learn with AI tutors. If it were that easy, we wouldn't have schools. So it's more about how we're building in that it's being used successfully by our teachers and our students as a tool, rather than thinking it has all the answers, and making sure students are aware of that. So yeah, that's our kind of approach to it at the minute, making sure it's usable where it makes sense. For our staff as well, a lot of that is background work, to take away a lot of the admin, so they can really focus their time and energy on supporting the students as well as possible.
Final question for you is, as you look forward, you said that you're bringing in PE as, you're bringing back physical education, back into your curriculum. What are the things, or like, what other innovations, when we have other schools that are physical on here, they can say, hey, look, we have a new building, or we have a new facility, we have a new, those kind of things. Are there partnerships? Are there different kinds of things? Like, what's your anticipation for growth, for evolution, for, staying fresh as you can keep going?
So one of the things that we've actually done in the last 12 months was we've moved one of our campuses from a 5-day teaching week to a 4-day teaching week. So that was our newest revolution that was happening. And really that was to create a 5th day that allowed students to have, a day for catching up on homework, work, interventions with their teachers or one-to-ones, allows staff to have that dedicated time for planning and marking. And the feedback has been really successful on that. What we kind of see happening in the future across the sort of online is that, there will be a move towards hybrid, I think, for, physical schools as well as online schools, be that because of recruitment pressures or just what makes sense in terms of teaching styles. And what we want to do is create partnerships with schools where we can provide that online learning for subjects, but that they still have that physical presence for those important, in-person socialization elements, the sports, the music, the drama, etc. We've already started initial partnerships of that in New Zealand, having just actually purchased a physical school ourselves that we're running this through, plus partnership schools in New Zealand that are working with us for several classes at the minute. And really we see that as the potential growth area for online partnerships with physical schools to make sure students are getting the best experience for both the academics and that in-person element.
I love it. Do you think that I said it was the last question? We got one more then, because you just got a building, so is there a potential for that CGA becomes a brick and mortar? Is that, is that the ultimate intent, or is that a resource?
No, it's definitely a resource. It's a place for families in that area, our first trial one really, to be able to come together to have those physical experiences together. But we want to maintain that flexibility of, you're here when you need to be, but you don't actually need to be on campus every day unless that suits parents. And then we can create workable spaces where students can learn independently. But also, and I think one of the most important elements for us is that the teaching experience is still coming from the best educators we can get from around the world, and not just because they are the teachers located next to the school. And I think that's a really important one for us recruitment wise. We still want to maintain that excellence with our teachers by being a global online school where we can recruit from anywhere in the world.
Fantastic. Mr. Ronan Kearney, thank you so much for taking time out of your morning to speak with us today about CGA. I really appreciate it. We do have at least one more video here that we're going to be showing off here. So without further ado, we actually have. I'll let you go. Thank you very much. I'll bring those brochures up, and I will bring the video up as well. But thank you so much for your time.
Cheers.
And if anybody wants to judge you, we'll make sure that we get them in contact with you. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye.
Oops. Let's move that overlay there. Apologies. Just need to make sure that I have the correct things going on here. And without further ado, this is another video for CGA.
I think what I enjoyed most about studying at CGA was probably the international community. Hello, my name is Kun. I'm 17 years old. I'm living in Bangkok, here in Thailand, and I will be heading to the University of St. Andrews next year. So before CGA, I was attending an international school here in Bangkok, but during the COVID-19 pandemic, I realized that I needed to remain studying online for longer. And so I started looking with my family for some alternatives where we found CGA. Because all of the lessons were online, it was a suitable alternative. I was also drawn to CGA because of its flexible options, which tailored quite nicely to my own timetable. At the time, I was interested in working with my team to enter a robotics competition, so it was also a suitable choice. A typical day at CGA for me was starting relatively early in the morning, where I would attend some lessons. Usually afterwards, I'd take a little bit of a break where maybe I might do some homework or relax a little. Then I usually have some lessons again before having some lunch, and then another series of lessons in the afternoon. Afterwards, during the evening times, it's usually quite free, where I tend to focus on some extracurriculars, maybe some leftover classwork. During some of my younger years for IGCSE, I think I mostly used some of CGA's available timetabling with CGA Home. But later on, I also used Google Calendar and some of my own writing on paper, like post-it notes and such, just to support with scheduling and keeping up with tasks. I think in terms of teaching-wise, a smaller class size was quite important for me. The teachers have a lot more time to focus. CGA has lots of students from many countries all around the world, and it was very interesting to see all these various perspectives and ideas. I think the community was also a great place for extracurricular activities and various activities like clubs or societies. So CGA has also helped me a lot with my own time management. It's kept me on track by making sure that I write down all my tasks and preparations within Google Calendar and similar platforms, which I probably wouldn't have done before if I wasn't studying here at CGA and seeing other people do the same. I think CGA has helped me a lot with my growth. I think it's also helped me become a lot more independent because of the amount of time that it's freed up that I needed to learn how to manage decently. So in terms of admission support I received from CGA, the teachers at CGA really guided me through every step of the way. They helped to discuss my application with me and guided me with everything from subject selection to aspects of the admissions process itself. Prior to joining CGA, I hadn't really thought much about my university admissions future, so just being in that environment of other students doing the same and thinking about their own futures was also just really helpful. My advice to a student who's considering joining CGA is to take the time to get to know it, because when I was first thinking about joining, I think I was very hesitant and I really wasn't sure if it was the right choice for me or if I'd make any friends or if I'd really enjoy my time here. But I think I was really proven wrong after I joined and started to get to know CGA. So I'd suggest you do the same and take a chance and see what happens. Come and join me at CGA.